place to go. You see the signs, they're everywhere. Will you make a stand or lay down low? Would you start a fight you know you can't win? Would you come so far from where you've been? Judge and executioner, will you make a stand or lay down low? There's a storm coming, I feel it in the water. There's a storm coming, I feel it deep inside. The tide is getting higher and there's no place left to hide. There's a storm coming, I feel it in the water. There's a storm coming, I feel it deep inside. The tide is getting higher and there's no place left to hide. When it comes for you, where will you be? Will you be walking tall or down on your knees? You call yourself survivor, make your stand or lay down low. There's a storm coming, there's a storm coming, there's a storm coming, and there's no place left to hide. There's a storm coming, there's a storm coming, there's a storm coming, and there's no place left to hide. But there's a storm coming, I feel it in the water. There's a storm coming, I feel it deep inside. There's a storm coming, the tide is getting higher and there's no place left to hide. There's a storm coming, there's a storm coming, there's a storm coming, the tide is getting higher and there's no place left to hide.
Okay, well, I shall ask my questions. So, how did you start the band? How did it come about?
So we were living next door to each other. I had all but retired from making music altogether, just because, you know, the way that life was going, and you just hit that wall of fatigue, and I was just a bit done with it all. And Chloe and I met up during lockdown.
Yeah, we were a little bubble, weren't we? Both two single people living alone.
Yeah. And she wanted to have a go at writing a song, and she knew that I had written songs in the past, so I thought, yeah, you know, I'll write a song with you. And that turned into a second song, and then a third song, and then before we know it, we're out doing this stuff again.
Yeah, because I wrote poetry beforehand. I'd never actually written a song before I met Andrew. I could always sing. I'd been singing since I was a child, but I'd never actually written a song myself. So yeah, I kind of dragged you kicking and screaming out of retirement, and then our little lockdown project got slightly out of control because we're still here.
Still doing it.
That's good. It's good that something so lovely came out of all that horrible awfulness. What are both of your earliest musical memories?
I think mine is kind of funny because I really distinctly remember quite a lot of things from when I was about 4 years old, but kind of nothing from before then. And I remember my dad had a Sony Walkman with like big old cans for headphones, and he had a bunch of cassettes. So he's got really diverse musical taste, my dad. He loves everything from kind of Kraftwerk to Buddy Holly. And I remember that there were 2 particular tapes that I used to steal from him all the time. One of them was a weird 80s compilation tape that had Only You by Yazoo on it, which I used to listen on repeat. And the other one was like the hits of Elvis Presley. So one of my earliest musical memories is playing that cassette of Elvis Presley on my dad's Walkman with a pair of headphones which were way too big for my head, and just dancing around like an absolute whirling dervish in our dining room to Elvis.
Nice.
And my love of Elvis has persisted ever since.
Persisted. Yeah, for me, I can't quite pinpoint a single moment. It's more I've kind of just always been familiar with having music around. So I kind of, as I was growing up, it was like, you know, it was like milk. You know, I was reared on it more than anything else. Most of it comes from, if I had to pinpoint one particular moment, it was being up early one time with my dad, and he had put on a videotape of the 1989 Batman, and those opening credits, I remember it's just one big long march, and I just remember being mesmerised by that. But other than that, you know, my dad too has really diverse musical tastes. My grandmother used to be the cleaner for a country and western bar down in Cornwall. So she used to take me and my brother down there after school, and would usually stay until, you know, the shift had begun. So you usually find him and me dancing away to country and western music at the local country and western bar.
Nice. So, have you got a funny or an interesting story related to the band or otherwise?
I mean, we have a funny story, don't we? So we've kind of developed the nickname of the Gothic Cowboys in our local scene because we're kind of veering on the edge of a country band, but also with, you know, a bit like Johnny Cash, usually dressed in black, looking quite scary and spooky. And we played a festival, was it last summer? The festival will remain nameless. But we got upstaged by a ghost train.
A ghost train that was right next to the main stage, and we were opening for the weekend or the afternoon headliner.
Yeah.
And the afternoon headliner are a very well-known band, very well-known songs, and yeah, halfway through our set, they switched on the ghost train, which was right next to the stage. I thought something had broken on our gear because all you could hear was these mechanical sounds.
Yeah, you could hear this sort of screeching sound, and we were like, either the amp's broken or the guitar's broken,
Yeah,
something's feeding back. And it was only when we heard Vincent Price's voice booming out of the speakers that we realised it was actually the ghost train.
And so as we were leaving the stage, this well-known band, they were kind of looking at us kind of going, how are we supposed to contend with that? And we all just kind of had a little shrug with one another because, yeah, how do you contend with the ghost train?
Yeah, you know, it's a good story though. Getting upstaged by a mechanical Vincent Price doesn't happen every day.
Kind of gothic.
Kind of goth.
I love Vincent Price.
Very much in keeping with our vibe, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
Or like Foley art.
Yes.
Added on top of the music. That could be a whole like genre within itself.
It could be a concept album, couldn't it?
be,
Just
yeah.
samples of Vincent Price's voice with with music.
The ghost train. Okay, one last one. One interesting or strange fact that either of you know.
Oh goodness. Gosh, where to begin? Because I sort of pride myself on being able to bore people with All right, one that I've used this week. The Tyrannosaurus Rex exists closer to the time of humans than it does to the time of the Stegosaurus. There you go.
Cool.
Great existential crisis ensues.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna reveal my nerdy side now, because I have a real interest in Greek mythology, and I always found it interesting that the image of Medusa that we tend to know in Western culture actually comes from the Clash of the Titans movie and not the original Greek myth. So this vision of Medusa with a tail and being a huntress actually comes from the film, because in real Greek mythology she was a teenage girl.
Okay.
Just wanted to be left alone.
Yeah. Just didn't want to be bothered by men.
By men.
Oh, you feel that?
Do with you. Well, you make my heart a liar, my blood run with a glance, put my hands on and I can't stop it when you do. What am I gonna do with you? Do with you. What am I gonna do with you? What am I gonna do with you?
Nice.